one of its original owners. We sit down with them tonight. Also, a shooting on Madison's east side leaves one person injured, what we know so far. And we're following International Women's Day. We take a look at how local organizations have been advocating for women's rights for over a decade. That's all coming up on News 3 Now at 10. Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jalen Banks. Back in business, those are the words the Esquire Club's returning owner is glad to hear. Last week, a sign was posted on the restaurant's doors, abruptly closing down the business. But as of Friday, the club is back. Our Ellie LaLiberte has the story.
You can still see the tape where a sign hung just a week ago announcing the Esquire Club's sudden closure. But now there's a new sign on the door.
I consider myself the king.
John Kavanagh is back on his throne.
I grew up and I worked here.
His parents bought the Esquire Supper Club on Madison's north side in 1947. And when John passed off ownership of the restaurant a couple of months ago, he didn't think he'd be back to work.
I'm 75, so maybe time to, retire.
But John was brought out of retirement last week after this sign was posted on the door announcing the club was closing. According to him, a disagreement with investors caused the club's most recent owner to have to shut the doors.
After about 9 months, you could see that he just was struggling. The investors met, and when they got all done, they put a sign in the door and locked it up. So that meant that it was mine.
Kavanagh also said staff were not taken care of.
I don't know how he decided what he was going to pay, but he didn't pay him all that he owed him. His vision was different than my vision.
But now John's vision is about moving forward.
We got a lot of regular customers that are just been my customer forever and ever, and of all walks, you know what I mean?
And although the Supper Club may not have working phones quite yet and are still trying to sort out all the details,
I got a lot of hugs last night for being back.
Reporting in Madison, Ellie LaLiberte, News 3 Now.
Ellie, thank you. We also reached out to the now former owner for comment, but have not heard back. Now let's get a look at your first warn forecast with meteorologist Blaze Keller. Blaze, what should we expect this week?
To be sitting underneath some warmer temperatures as we go into your Sunday and then further into Monday. Next week is going to be quiet. Let's take a look at what we can expect on Sunday. Upper 50s to low 60s, and our average high should be about 40. So it is going to be a warmer day as we look to end your weekend. A bit breezy at times with winds out of the southwest, gusting at about 30 miles per hour, maybe upwards of 40 at times. Over the next 12 hours, we're going to slowly cool on down into those upper 20s to low 30s. Sitting underneath clear to mostly clear conditions. And then we are into the 40s by 10, nearing 50 by 11 o'clock. So we don't cool off a whole lot tonight because we have to climb into those upper 50s to low 60s for your Sunday. But it is going to be quiet not only tonight and for your Sunday, but Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe even into Thursday as well. But we're eyeing a late week system which will not only warm us back up, but also bring us the chance for some showers and maybe a few thunderstorms as well. So we'll talk about that in the full forecast.
All right, sounds good, Blaze. We'll see you in just a bit. One person is injured in a shooting on Madison's east side as of Saturday morning. Police said the shooting occurred at an apartment between Straubel Street and Straubel Court just before noon. A 25-year-old man was taken to the hospital for his injuries. Police said the injuries are believed to be non-life-threatening. No arrests have been made. An investigation is ongoing. We'll continue to keep you updated both on air and online. As we gather more information, just head on over to our website at channel3000.com. A man is wanted by law enforcement after being chased by McFarland police Thursday night. Police say an officer attempted to perform a traffic stop on Triangle Street a little before midnight. The suspect allegedly refused to stop, fleeing into the city of Madison, eventually leaving the car and running away on foot. Officers established the perimeter with the help of Monona, Madison, and Fitchburg police departments, but the search was unsuccessful. While investigating, police say they discovered the identity of the suspect, who they say admitted to fleeing when contacted. The Wisconsin Probation and Parole Office has issued a warrant for their arrest. The Wisconsin Elections Commission will continue an investigation into unaccounted ballots found in the city of Madison. The investigation was originally launched in January, looking to find an explanation into how 193 ballots from 3 different wards went unprocessed. The WEC will also now direct staff to craft guidance for clerks on how to proceed if a similar situation occurs in another city. That guidance is set to be released before the April 1st general election. The annual food drive, Scouting for Good from Scouting America, was back Saturday morning. Scouts picked up non-perishable food donations left on doorsteps. Some troops hosted food drive collection events at local grocery stores. All donations will go to food pantries like the Second Harvest Food Bank, the Sunshine Place Emergency Food Pantry, and more. In total, they collected over 4,600 pounds of food. Today is International Women's Day. For the past 11 years, organizations in Madison have organized events celebrating and advocating for women's rights. Our Tanisha Shaw talked to the woman that's been spearheading the festivities for over a decade.
Every year on March 8th, women are celebrated.
Happy International Women's Day to all the women in the world, especially the Madison area women.
Emily Sangolo is the founder of the nonprofit Africade. Every year, Africade and 4W Initiative partner to celebrate and advocate.
Where I grew up, which is Cameroon, this is a holiday. Since it's on a Saturday, Monday will be a bridge. It is a holiday, so there's a lot going on, a lot of workshops, a lot of cultural events, parades. So really creating this space so that women have the freedom to be out.
Emily also told me that before 2014, there wasn't a big International Women's Day celebration here in Madison. She's proud to bring a piece of Cameroon here to Wisconsin.
America, hello, we need something. Madison, hello. And me being me, I said, we have to begin celebrating it. And I'm very, very happy because in Madison-Dane County today, we have a lot of other groups hosting events to celebrate women.
Since 2014, the community celebrates International Women's Day at Christ Presbyterian Church. This year, the theme is Still We Rise.
Because there are just so many challenges that women have to experience. I shouldn't say have, that women experience.
Everyone is welcome to celebrate every single year under one requirement.
The only things that we have to have in common is to be committed to women's rights. Because we can't do it alone.
Reporting in Madison, Tanisha Shaw, News 3 Now.
Tanisha, thank you. There was also a marketplace that put a spotlight on women business owners here in Madison. Still to come in News 3 Now at 10. Cabinet heads work to get some of the same page ahead of the looming government shutdown. And the trade war with Canada continues, with President Trump now taking aim at dairy and lumber imports.
Watching News 3 Now at 10.
With just a week to go before a possible government shutdown, House Republicans are throwing down the gauntlet. House Speaker Mike Johnson is setting up a vote for Tuesday on a bill to keep federal agencies funded through September 30th. And he's daring Democrats to vote against it and risk a government shutdown. CBS's Nicole Killian is in West Palm Beach, Florida.
President Trump returned to his Mar-a-Lago resort after leaving the White House for the weekend with Elon Musk not far from his side. The special government employee is now at the center of an explosive meeting Thursday night, according to the New York Times. Musk clashed with several Trump officials, including Secretary of State Marco Rubio, over the Department of Government Efficiency to cut federal spending.
Elon gets along great with Marco, and they're both doing a fantastic job. There is no clash.
The president and Musk tamped down tensions, with Musk calling it a very productive meeting. But earlier in the week, the tech titan faced a mixed reception on Capitol Hill, with some lawmakers urging him to pump the brakes on massive agency cuts after facing backlash back home.
Have you been getting a lot of calls to your office about some of these cuts?
From both sides, yes. I mean, people that have questions, that have concerns, also people that are happy with what's been found.
Since DOJ's creation, more than 28,000 federal employees have been terminated, according to a CBS News tracker. Fearing they could be next, some workers attended a job fair Saturday outside of the nation's capital.
Many of us may be fired illegally we're still going to have to pay the bills.
Nicole Killian, CBS News, West Palm Beach, Florida.
Migrant families with children are now being detained as part of the Trump administration's immigration crackdown. A Department of Homeland Security spokesperson said the migrants have final deportation orders. In a statement, the agency said 2 immigration and customs enforcement facilities in Texas are being reopened and retrofitted for families. The spokesperson said the administration is not going to ignore the law, and the agency said the best option for those in the U.S. legally is to self-deport because they may still have an opportunity to return in the future. This action comes as the Trump administration has been trying to ramp up the pace of deportations. There's no end to the tariff war with Canada. President Trump is now taking aim at dairy and lumber imports, but Canada is fighting back. CBS's Ed O'Keefe is in the capital of Ottawa tonight with the latest on the tumultuous trade war.
With boos and boycotts, Canadians are voicing their displeasure with President Trump. They're not amused by his punishing tariffs or aggressive taunts.
So I think Canada is going to be a very serious contender to be our 51st state.
Not a snowball's chance in hell.
In grocery stores, many Canadian consumers have become patriotic patrons.
I decided not to buy a couple of products in there today because they were from the U.S.
At liquor stores, too, anything American is cleared out. It's a big shift for a country that bought almost $350 billion in U.S. goods last year. The U.S. is also the top travel destination for Canadians, with 20.4 million visits in 2024 for work or vacation. And some may be offloading their vacation homes.
I love going to the U.S. I spend a lot of time there.
But now you're curtailing that.
Yeah, no.
All in direct response to what President Trump is up to.
Basically,
Yes.
Yes.
Starting Monday, the Premier of Ontario is moving ahead with his own tariffs on electricity sold to millions of Americans south of the border.
It's an economic war, and that he's declared on his closest friends. And for what reason?
There's change even in cafes. The owner of this Toronto spot joined the trend-sweeping coffee shops in Canada, renaming Americanos to Canadianos. In a land where hockey is king, they're dropping the gloves. On Saturday Night Live, Mike Myers mouthing the words "elbows up" twice. Even the actor in a classic Canadian beer commercial has reprised his role as Joe Canada.
But we are not the 51st anything!
But for Canadians, it's no joke.
The excuse that he's giving for these Paris tariffs today of fentanyl is completely bogus. What he wants is to see a total collapse of the Canadian economy, because that'll make it easier to annex us.
Ed O'Keefe, CBS News, Toronto.
Let's get a look at your first warn forecast with meteorologist Blaise Keller. Blaise.
We are expecting the warm and dry conditions to continue as we head into not only your Sunday, but further into Monday. 50s and maybe a few 60s possible as we look to end the weekend. A bit breezy as well. Some of those gusts could be upwards of 30 miles per hour. We're looking at rain and some storm chances to return by maybe as early as Thursday, but likely more Friday as we head into your upcoming work week in the week leading up to St. Patrick's Day. The reason is because of this right here, a large low pressure system that's going to be moving out of the plains later Thursday into Friday and then continue to make its way through the Midwest Saturday into Sunday. It's a very healthy system at this point as Future Track takes us into Saturday morning. We've got the cold front in the blue, the warm front in the red, and then this purple front, which we don't really see a whole lot, but we call that an occluded front. And that's just a very fancy way of saying that cold air has started to enter into the center of the low pressure system, and from that point on, it will weaken. So it will be weakening as it moves into the Midwest, which is some good news. That will definitely cut our chances, maybe even a weak severe thunderstorm. But it is going to bring us some rain as we go into especially Friday night into Saturday. Early estimations anywhere between a quarter to a half an inch here in the blue. Further to the north, looking at a 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch of rain. And right now, most of that heavier precipitation along I-29 across parts of the Dakotas. This will bounce around a little bit as we make our way into next week. So stay with News 3 now for the latest. But of the 2 precipitation chances, I would say rain is likely going to be the greater of the 2 because we are starting to warm on up. But up until that point next week, we are going to remain quiet, maybe a scattered to an isolated shower or thunderstorm later Thursday closer to Lake Michigan as that system begins to move off of the plains and into more of the Midwest. But what about snow? Again, we're not really in a great position to see a whole lot of snow, especially if that system moves more northeast. Like the rain, most of that heavier precipitation expected to fall across parts of the Dakotas. Right now, estimations are about an inch or less for central and southern Wisconsin. Folks along the Illinois border may not even see any snow. Temperatures don't look to really fall behind this, so much like the system on Friday, a lot of that snow is going to melt as it's falling, but it is still possible we see some snow out of this system because it is going to be strong enough to pull down some cooler air out of Canada. Now already, even though we're just about a week into March, we've already picked up over 1.5 inches of snow, making our way closer to that average of about 7 for a typical March. So we picked up nearly a 1/2 inch of snow on Friday, then we picked up about 1.25 inches on that Wednesday. So we've already had some snow this month, and again, we do have the chance as we look ahead into mainly Sunday and your St. Patrick's Day, but we'll still be well above freezing, so a lot of that is going to be more of a rain-snow mix, if anything. But remember, we do move forward our clocks, springing forward on Sunday, upper 50s to low 60s, low to mid 60s on Monday, and then we cool off just briefly there Tuesday before we're back into the 50s by Wednesday and Thursday.
All I can do is just celebrate for warmer weather.
Yeah, it's almost here. 60s will feel really great on Monday, and then maybe some 70s by Friday.
All right, sounds good. Looking forward to that, Blaze. Thank you. Coming up in sports, a border battle with big stakes on the line. Wisconsin women's hockey plays Minnesota for the WCHA tournament title. Andrew has the highlights next.
When you are the best, your standards are just a little bit different. Being the top-ranked team in the country isn't necessarily what Wisconsin women's hockey wants. They want to win their conference, check, win their conference tournament, and win a national title. They could cross another one of those goals off the list today, playing Minnesota in the WCHA final face-off, looking for that conference tournament crown, but no one ever said it would be easy. Late in the first period, Minnesota ties it at 3 apiece, a score that would hold until the final minute of the game, but Mark Johnson's not nervous. With less than 30 seconds left in regulation, the Badgers send a shot and it finds the back of the net. Sarah Wozniewicz is the hero, and the Badgers win it 4-3, and they are the WCHA champs for the 11th time in program history. Meanwhile, the Wisconsin men had a chance to sweep Ohio State and advance to the second round of the Big Ten tournament. And in the second period, it looked like they were going to pull it off. Kyle Kukanon makes it 2-0, but the Buckeyes would buck back and force overtime. And in front of their home crowd, they would not be denied. The Badgers lose a heartbreaker in overtime 3-2, forcing a must-win Game 3 tomorrow. And we stay in the rank. Edgewood looking to become the first ever D1 or D2 4-seed to win the state title, playing the 2-time defending champs Notre Dame. First period, Crusaders trailing 1-0, and Owen Porter fighting for the puck behind the net finds Owen Cook, who buries it, and the lead would only grow from there. This time, it's Porter again, adding to his score sheet with a near side snipe, and from there, the party was on. Edgewood wins it 5-2, their first ever state championship. All Wisconsin men's basketball had to do today to secure a double bye in the Big Ten tournament was beat Penn State, which seemed like a sure thing. The Nittany Lions have never won at the Kohl Center and sit 17th in the Big Ten standings. Not to mention, it was senior day, but today, none of that mattered. It looked great in the first half. John Tonje takes and makes the triple to put Wisconsin up by a baker's dozen. But then everything changed. After that bucket, the Badgers were outscored 59-35 the rest of the way, or in other words, were outscored by 24 points in the final 25 minutes of the game. John Blackwell tried to not let this one slip away. He scored 14 points in the second half, including a couple of clutch threes, but in the end, the Badgers just could not get out of their own way, leading to what will unequivocally go down as their worst loss of the season. Penn State takes it 86-75, and heading into the postseason, the only question is, will the Badgers use this as a wake-up call?
Well, we're going to find out. You know, we'll see the response. We'll be able to find out Thursday or Friday whenever we play, you know, what our response is. And I think knowing those guys, this is not a good day. We have no one to blame but ourselves, myself included. So I got to continue to push buttons and find ways, and we got to get healthy.
High school girls hoops basketball make that. Wanakee taking on the defending D1 state champ Arrowhead with a spot at state on the line. Warriors down early but battled back. Grayson Phillips dials one up for deep. One of 5 triples for her on the day that gives Wanakee a 1-point lead. Phillips finished with 19. And then later it's Audra Might dropping home the floater. She added in 12 for the Warriors, but Natalie Cuso and the Warhawks always had an answer. She scored a game-high 31 points, and Wanakee falls in overtime 72-69. So the Warriors come up short, but we did have some local teams punch their ticket to next week's state tournament. Edgewood, Cuba City, and Barneville will all make the trip to Green Bay. And in not such good news, and also really good news, we finished with some more basketball. Whitewater won a nail-biter to advance to the Sweet 16 in the D3 women's tournament, while UW-Platteville, the number 2 team in the nation, lost a shocker in overtime. A tough out for Greg Make That Jeff Guard's guys. And the Bucks have won 8 of their last 9, could pull off another one tonight. Trailing by 2 with 5 seconds to go, Damian Lillard looking for the game winner, and it's no good. The Magic win it 111-109, a heartbreaker for the Bucks, and we will be right back.
All right, Andrew, real quick, UW men's basketball heading into the Big Ten tournament. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I think that they're due for a wake-up call. They won't get the double bye, so they'll play on Thursday, meaning they'll get an easier opponent in that first game that they play in Indianapolis. Yeah. Either way, it's hard to say what's to expect. I think they're going to do well. We'll have the coverage live from Indianapolis all week.
Right, sounds good. Looking forward to it, Blaze.
And it's going to be a nice day on Sunday. Plenty of sunshine, upper 50s to low 60s. We'll start out in the 30s, and then by about 3, we should be in those low to mid 50s. We spring forward tomorrow, 60s on Monday, a little bit cooler Tuesday, but 60s return by Friday.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Blaze, and thank you, Andrew. And thank you to our crew. We'll see you back here tomorrow.